Later on, I found out that the doctor said there was nothing else they can do for her because her asthma had gotten so out of control. So she was on a oxygen machine and things like that. And even when I would see her on the oxygen machine, she was just I still wasn't at 13 years old, you're still not understanding the seriousness of it because she was still her. She just was moving around with an oxygen tank, but she was still herself. She wasn't complaining a lot. She was still moving around. And that weekend, the weekend of May, I believe it was May 1st, that morning she called my mom and she was saying, she could barely make it to the bathroom on her own. And, so I said that I would go and stay the weekend with her. And again, 13 years old, not thinking anything of it. But that day was so different because she wasn't her vibrant self. She was very quiet. She was very exhausted. She could barely make it up the steps, and she could barely, she didn't want to eat anything. She wasn't herself. And of course, again, 13 years old, so oblivious that I still didn't think that it was anything that serious. And that next morning, well, in the middle of the night, I had got up to use the restroom, and she was sitting on the side of the bed talking to her son who came over. And I got back in the bed. I went back to sleep, and I woke up, and it was something very odd that I noticed, which wasn't normal for her because she was always up at 5 in the morning, sometimes earlier. I would barely see her sleep ever since I was little. I would barely see her sleep. And she just wasn't up. And I just remember I got up, I went into the living room, and I sat down, I ate me some cereal, I was watching videos, and I just remember thinking, why isn't she up yet? So the cell phone that her other son had left was ringing, and at the time cell phones were not out unless you had lots of money to get one. So I didn't know how to work it. I didn't know how to turn it on or off. I didn't know what was going on. So I went to ask her.